It's Monday, October 14, and time for your Barbados Today Morning News Update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Barbados's murder rate climbs to 39 following 2 unnatural deaths over the weekend. The first tragic death occurred around 11:45 p.m. on Saturday at Golden Rock, The Pine, when a 44-year-old Kieron Anthony Hodge of number 92 Midway Lane, Pylon St Michael, was shot while liming with a group of men in the area. Our Kareem Smith visited The Pine yesterday and filed this report.
According to residents of Golden Rock, 44-year-old Kieron Anthony Hodge was in the wrong place at the wrong time when masked gunmen sprayed the area with bullets. They said it was the third time in less than 24 hours that men had recklessly opened fire on a popular liming spot, leaving bullet holes lodged in nearby front doors, galvanized structures, and sidewalks.
This is a serious death. It is a serious death. Yes, the Point have a bad name, but they don't have everybody bad. People can change.
What were some of your fondest memories of him?
Like, the day yesterday, he came in my shop and he tell me, I want biscuit and I want drink, and it was like exchanging a bad word to you, not name bad. Give me a joke, and all he do is skin him out. My mother used something that's called a scummy mother, and he went down across the pastor. He shot a bullet already. That's early in the morning. But sometimes in life, you're wrong place at the wrong time.
A stone's throw away in nearby Midway Lane, his mother Valerie Griffith was in pain for a son she described as very nice, caring, and hard-working. Even more painful for the 68-year-old mother was the fact that she lost her daughter in July, who was living overseas. Griffith told Barbados Today on Saturday night she received a late-night phone call from her neighbor who said her son had been shot and it was bad.
I just lost my daughter the 8th July. I know he done. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to cope. I mean, it's so hard because I didn't even get over hers yet. And then now all this here to be happening, like, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what is going on. But ask anybody, anywhere, here or anyway, but tell Anthony is the type of person nobody can believe, well, that, something like this can happen.
Police investigations are continuing. Kareem Smith for Barbados Today.
The second unnatural death was reported to police by an anonymous female caller around 6:15 a.m. on Sunday. The lifeless body of 60-year-old Stephen McDonald Cadogan of 3rd Avenue Holders Land, Brandon St Michael, was then discovered in the Westbury Cemetery. Police investigations are continuing into the 2 unnatural deaths, and they are asking anyone who can provide any information to contact emergency number 211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477, or any police station. In other news, PSV owners, operators, and officials of the Transport Authority met last night to discuss the controversial 5-minute rule. The contentious rule was temporarily relaxed last week after operators staged a brief work stoppage at the Constitution River Terminal. Chairman of the Transport Authority, Ian Estwick, spoke to reporters following the meeting.
The meeting was really called to have the permit holders who are not members of APTO or AOPT to give us some suggestions as to how they will want the time limit in the CRT to work, Constitution River Terminal. And we had some suggestions this evening. I will now take these suggestions back to the board, and a decision will be made, and we will get back to the general body as well as APTO and AOPT, and let them know what has been decided.
What are some of the suggestions that were made today?
Too numerous to mention.
Just name at least couple, at least two.
10, 15, 20, 25 minutes to remain in the loading bay.
Or use discretion.
Or use our discretion.
What's going to be the modus operandi from tomorrow? What happens tomorrow?
We have a protocol in place which was agreed with APTO and AOPT, a maximum of 10 minutes off-peak.
The government is urging fire officers to be patient on the issue of appointments. Home Affairs Minister Edmund Hinkson made the plea in his address to the 64th anniversary church service of the Barbados Fire Service held at the Bethel Methodist Church on Bay Street, St Michael yesterday. The minister assured officers that government was doing its best to address the issue.
I know that management has been meeting with the Ministry of Public Service on this issue, but it cannot be looked in a vacuum. This is a matter that challenges many departments of government, indeed other departments of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and therefore it has to be looked at a macro level. Just need to tell you that we are aware of the issue. I've had meetings with the Barbados Fire Services, Fire Officers Association at various points in this year. This has come up for discussion. We are doing our best to address the problem as a government. We ask you to continue to be patient on this issue as we, as a government, seek to solve myriad problems. We know that we have to be fair to public officers. We will be fair to you all. But this will take time because it isn't only the fire service that is issue here, but it holds service.
At the same time, he revealed that the Ministry of Finance recently identified a source of funding for the construction of the island's 6th fire station to be located at the Point St Michael, opposite the Anhill School.
A technical survey though has been carried out of the area, and therefore still there are some preliminaries that have to be satisfied before advertisements can go out to tender for the professional services. It is planned as well that this building would also house the administrative facilities of the fire service, which are right now housed in the General Post Office near here. So to consolidate both the fire station and administrative services.
Homeboy Chris Gibbs convincingly won the bid to represent St Michael West on a Barbados Labour Party ticket in the next general election. The nomination was a keen contest between Gibbs, who's an engineer and businessman, and Stephen Leslie, a director of cricket at the Barbados Cricket Association. However, just after 7 p.m., BLP General Secretary Senator Jerome Walcott declared Gibbs the winner after he polled 360 votes to Leslie's 50. Gibbs vowed to stand behind the people of St Michael West, whom he said were deserted by opposition leader Bishop Joseph Arthurly.
You guys have suffered for 10 years with bad representation, and then for one with none. And I've seen that, you know, my family, my people, you guys were hurting. And that is why I felt that I had to hit the ground running, even though I hadn't been selected yet, because I really felt the pain when I went walking. I started out in Headley Land, and a lot of people in that area needed a lot of help, whether it was lighting or whether it was flooring dropping in. And honestly, when I saw it, it's something that I had never seen before in my life. And it really touched me, so I had to help. So I did. And I look forward to finishing the job right up to as long as you would have me.
Gibbs's rival Leslie told the constituents in St Michael West to give their support to the newly elected candidate.
We are part of a process, and we want to be able to have every Barbadian believing in our leadership and our management. This exercise today was one where Chris emerged as a leader for the St. Michael West going into the next general election, and we want to provide him with all the support that we need to give him in an effort to ensure that not only that we retain this seat under our party banner, but we are able to educate and guide the persons within St. Michael West so that we are part of a better Barbados.
And Prime Minister Mia Mottley declared to party faithfuls that the void has been filled, and she urged Gibbs to get to work immediately.
Chris, as soon as the National Council meets and ratifies your nomination, you will now become a formal member of the Barbados Labour Party Parliamentary Party. And in securing you in that location, I expect you to treat to the constituents of this constituency in the same way as if you could reverse the hands of time, and that this nomination would have taken place prior to May 24th, such that you would have been the de facto representative of the people of St. Michael West and the de jure representative.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
To news from our regional neighbors now, a political scientist has been weighing in on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley's announcement that local elections will be held in Trinidad and Tobago on December 2nd. We get more in this report from CNC3.
The December 2nd local government election date did not come as a shock to political scientist Dr. Bishnu Raghunath.
The last election was on November the 28th. The 3-year anniversary of that would be, well, November 28th. However, councils would have taken office the first week in December, first to the second week in December. And in that context, once they would have taken office, that would be the end of their term. The expectation is that once that term runs out, the new council should have already been elected.
In fact, he feels the opposition wasn't caught off guard either. In the wind-up to her Budget 2020 response, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar responded to the election bell.
I call upon the Prime Minister to call the general election and not breaks by calling this local election. I want you to know the UNC will meet you and beat you at the polls on December 2nd. A $5 light bulb to show you that. Bring it on. The UNC is ready to transform and resurrect Trinidad.
And finally, Japan has deployed tens of thousands of troops and rescue workers following the passage of one of the strongest storms in years. We get more in this report from Reuters TV.
It was time to clean up in Tokyo on Sunday after Japan's worst typhoon in more than 60 years swept out to sea, leaving behind blue skies and a trail of destruction. Some 27,000 members of Japan's self-defense forces and rescue workers were sent to save residents stranded by Typhoon Hagibis in the central Nagano prefecture and elsewhere, the government said. The storm has left large swathes of low-lying land in central and eastern Japan underwater, has cut power to almost 500,000 homes, and has killed at least 18 people, with another 13 missing. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has offered his condolences to the families of those killed, and said the government was working to save people's lives and property. Hagibis, which means speed in the Philippine language Tagalog, made landfall on Japan's main island of Honshu on Saturday evening, and headed out to sea early on Sunday. Authorities have lifted rain warnings for the Kanto region around Tokyo, but warned there was still a risk of rivers in eastern Japan overflowing, and inflicting fresh damage.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates, so like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on iZooming Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.